Hey, welcome back to Me and Jean 1963, Spiritual Modalities for a Spiritual Life workshop. And as promised, to do interviews, bonus videos with people all around the globe doing different modalities so that we could truly get a taste and a touch of as many modalities as we can through the series. So coming up next is a beautiful interview that I did with Kitty Musser. She goes by the name of Kitty, and she does this beautiful process called the human design. Have you ever heard of it? I hadn't until a couple of weeks ago. Catherine sat with me and we did this whole beautiful process, and let me just give you a little slide to show you what some of it looks like. And I'm fascinated to tell you that it involves astrology, I Ching, the chakra system, and even personality types. And as Kitty says, it's a great report, information, a reading, an overview of your DNA of your soul. Wondering what that is? Stay watching. We'll be breaking it down today on my channel. So Kitty, so excited that you and I are spending time together today. And I just really want to thank you for your time and set an intention that really this class and what we're interested in is covering all these different modalities all over the globe. And I was fascinated to find out, I thought I knew as many modalities as there were out there, but human design really is fascinating. And today, I just want my group to know you, my YouTube channel, to introduce your work. And I was hoping you could just give a basic, introductory to yourself and a little bit about human design so we can get to know you better.
Thanks, Jeannie. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. My name is Kitty Musser. I'm a human design and numerology intuitive. I'm a level 3 Reiki practitioner. I also do emotional freedom technique. I'm trained in that and bioenergy healing. I incorporate also teaching the law of attraction as well as our spiritual journey here as humans on planet Earth.
So, for my group, I don't know if you could tell us a brief story about kind of how you came into human design. I know you do numerology. Was numerology before human design, or, so tell us the path of how you got into this modality.
I started practicing numerology 15 years ago. And I've been magnetically attracted and to mystical information all my life. So it's not something that just popped up. It's just always been there. I'm a sensitive empath, and it's been a quite painful journey being a sensitive empath, and it's caused me to seek answers to relieve my anxiety. But my deepest journey and shift began when I lost my son 15 years ago. In 2004. So this began my focused attention on human design and numerology. Now, human design didn't come into play until 5 years ago. I have a friend that is a holistic nurse practitioner, and she introduced me to human design, and I just knew this is a perfect fit. The two, there aren't many human design practitioners that incorporate numerology. I enjoy numerology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so here's my question. Were you always on the path of spirituality, or did it take your son's passing to really, awaken that journey in you, or were you already there?
I was already there.
Okay.
It was always there. In my human design, I have a lot of what are called the knowing channels. Yeah. And I came knowing. So, and in numerology, I'm the 33-6 master number spiritual teacher. Okay. So, when I learned all of that, the weirdness in me, and there's a story behind that I'll share with you. I always felt when I was younger and as I progressed through life, I just knew something was coming and that I felt like I was going to be really weird. And this is this is the weirdness right here.
Love that.
My
And I love that you're honoring that too, Kitty. So we can get and educate or explain. If you were going to meet a stranger alongside the road and try to break out or explain, I know this modality has a whole kind of history about how it came to be. So,
Ra Yahu Ru,
yeah.
that became his name. He actually was overtaken and channeled information in 1987. This is all new age human design, and it is in context because of humanity making the huge shift to the five central being versus the sixth central being. At the 2012 delineation line, that is when the end of the Piscean age technically was over into the age of Aquarius. So human beings now have also evolved as well as the earth is evolving alongside to the sixth central being.
I love that. We talk about the shift all the time in the spiritual groups that certainly I've been part of. It's an energy feeling, isn't it? That we're shifting
Absolutely.
and we're changing. And I think the people that I've talked to about this shift have all kind of felt the same thing. It's like, are we ahead of it, or are we following what we're supposed to be doing? And so it sounds like this gentleman really was was an open channel to receive this transition that was taking place. I love that.
Absolutely. He actually experienced something that he didn't even want.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was chosen. So it's a combination of astrology, the I Ching, and the Kabbalah. So it is absolutely new age. It is all about energy. Everything's about energy on our planet. We come to a cause and effect planet. So, it is about duality, up and down, in and out, love and hate. We came here to experience a lifetime from emotion, and we are here to learn to harness emotion to get off the wheel of karma. Once we enter planet Earth, we enter a situation where karma exists.
Okay.
So our soul's growth comes from clearing that karma.
So that's a good segue to kind of get into the explanation of this whole concept started with the Big Bang Theory, I think I've heard you say before. So take us back to that
Okay.
and the words that you used to describe what happened in that place.
The yin and the yang. When we choose to come to planet Earth, this planet is governed by
Cause and
all
effect.
planets around it.
Yeah.
And the Big Bang occurred, the yin and the yang, the duality clashed together, and billions of neutrinos were entered this energy field to affect all of us every single moment of every day. So the planets actually govern what's going on in our lives, whether we're aware of it or not.
Got it. That's the astrology connection to this?
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Correct.
Okay, this is fascinating.
So you sat in council before you were born, and you charted the actual emotions that you wanted to experience in a lifetime.
Because people who are listening, I think you and I will both agree on this. When I heard that in many books, right, when I first started going through my awakening, that we chose this life, we're in God's school, and that we mapped this out. And when I first heard that in the middle of my crisis, I remember throwing the book across the room that said that, by the way.
I did that too.
Okay, so here we are, for those of you who are listening, who are in maybe the worst period or the worst aspect of time. Let's take a second and acknowledge that, how disruptive and how emotional that period can feel. But to really be in full view and say, the other side of that coin is, wow, what can I gain from this? Why did I write this in? How can I be responsible for these choices on myself instead of blaming and the victim and everybody else? So this is that consciousness, right, that you keep talking about.
That's 100% correct. What appears in our lifetime, we were responsible for charting.
That's
And
what I
that,
love about human design, by the way. I mean, if
yes, it
this
takes us,
system nails that, right?
right? It
Yeah.
takes us to a point of, and that's what I teach from, that spiritual part of why we came, as well as what I see on your body chart. Okay, so I always want my students to keep in mind, you charted this, you said you could do it. Now, let's learn what you charted.
I love that. So that's a good segue to actually show my chart. And this is the complexity of human design. So I'm going to put that little chart up now. It's over our beautiful faces. And as you're looking at that, you know, if you look to the bottom of my chart, it talks about type, signature, strategy, inner authority, profile, incarnation cross, not seen. Oh my gosh, there's so many cool titles or labels, or hate to use the word label, but I know you know what I'm talking about. What
Right.
is that? Is that the breakout of my human design? Could you go into a little bit more detail on that?
So you sat in council and you charted the emotions and the energies that you wanted to experience this time around, looking at your past lifetimes,
Okay.
looking at the soul journey that you had learned, okay? And this time around, these are the things you wanted to work on. Well, that chart that you're looking at, you're actually seeing the energies that you chose.
Okay.
Now, but how do those show up? Well, we talked about the neutrinos that were circulating the planet. Well, when you sat in council and you set up this chart, you also chose the exact moment you were going to enter planet Earth, because at that moment of your birth, the neutrinos that were circulating the planet were imprinted upon your little being.
Huh.
And that's what I see in your human design.
So it makes me think of being on the other side. And, you know, they always say, you know, you choose your parents, you choose your life, you choose. Is that soul on the other side truly waiting for that perfect moment so that expression of self can come through in that way?
100%. You have chosen the time, and no matter what the stories are that mom and dad told you about your birth, or how you stalled, or how you came early, none of it's by accident. It is all ordained. Yes.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you got to go into the beautiful explanation of some of the things that human design, and you can just give us a basic understanding of kind of this. These are some of the aspects that the chart can show you or look at.
Okay. So there are 5 types that we can come as.
Okay.
You can come as a manifester, a manifesting generator, a generator, a projector, or a reflector.
Got it.
There are not self themes, there are signatures. I'll explain this to you.
It's great.
Okay, there are strategies, and this is basically what you are learning is what your particular design is. So can we talk about your design?
Yeah, I would love to.
Jeannie?
Yeah.
Okay. So Jeannie, you've come as a generator type.
Yep.
So that means you're the Energizer Bunny. Okay. You have the stamina to really pursue whatever it is that you want to. Okay.
Yeah.
Your signature, when you're living your design,
Inconscious, meaning when I'm doing the best version of myself. Is that what you mean by signature?
Yep, we're sharing everything about your design. So your signature is satisfaction. So you know that you're living your design if you're feeling satisfaction. And keep in mind that everything here is about feeling. It's something that society has lost touch of until now, because we need to get out of our head and into our heart.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
All right. So it's all about feeling. The energies that I'm seeing are feeling. So signature of satisfaction is a feeling.
Got it.
And when you're feeling that, you are living your design. You're in alignment. Okay. You're not self-theme would be frustration. So if you're feeling frustration, you're out of alignment. You're not living your design. Okay.
Yep.
So your actual profile is a 4-6, which is an opportunistic role model. So you came here to experience your life, and it's the only actual profile that is divided into 3 separate areas.
Okay.
So birth to 28, you are out in the world bumping into things. I'm a 4-6-2, so I can speak to this, where we had a lot, painful things happen. Okay. But see, this is purposeful.
Yeah.
We started this. We brought ourselves as a 4-6 because we wanted to experience this human lifetime through this filter. Okay, so I drive that home.
Yep.
All right. Because it takes us away from victim consciousness into taking responsibility for what we charted. It is transformative because you actually start viewing your life from a whole different perspective. And I think that you might attest to that as you've looked at yourself and the truth of who you are more deeply. Okay, so I help you discover the perfection of who you are, the truth of who you are, and that you charted it and it's perfection.
Yeah, I just love that. In fact, I'm going to skip right to one of the questions I had for you was to share a success story. So I'm kind of jumping on you. I'd like to share a little bit about what I learned from my session with you. And, you know, before I do that, here's my question. Somebody coming in to work with you, is there a good time to work with you? Like, let's say somebody is not spiritual in any way and they're just trying to just self-discover themselves, or the more advanced practitioner who's done so many different modalities. Is this for everybody? Or
yes. So generally, anyone that I have talked to has needed me and found me.
Got it.
Okay, whether it's through referral. And now this is where I'll switch to saying to you, because of myself being a manifesting generator, I need to wait to respond, as do you. So those of us that carry that as our design footprint, we need to be cautious how we enter situations. That's why I've chosen not to have a website, not to put myself out there, that I wait to respond and people show up.
Got it. Kind of how we got together, right?
Correct.
So I reached out to you through Michelle, and here we are, fast friends, right?
That's right.
I love
so,
that.
you know, only the manifestors of this world are the true initiators. And they're the ones that are out there standing at the podiums, lecturing us and telling us how we need to be in this world. Those manifestors are the true initiators, meaning they can go out there. They're meant to go out there and experiment with things and fail, experiment and fail. But those of us that are manifesting generators, okay, we are meant to wait to respond. So the important thing that I want to say about that is, and not spend too much time on it though, is that, you know, we all want success. Every one of us, whether we're a manifesting generator, a projector, or reflector. But that isn't correct for us. Yeah. And this is something huge to learn when you learn about your human design, because a lot of the failures are attributed to entering a situation not by your design.
Yeah.
Okay. That. So the manifestors are out there teaching us and standing on this podium and saying to us energetically, you know, getting us all excited. We're all excited and we're ready to go. You're in Mary Kay Cosmetics and they've got you going. And then you walk out of that energetic field, right, and it's lost.
Got it.
Because you aren't that type.
Got it.
Okay?
Got it.
So learning that is important, and it really helps to alleviate some pressure. We are not all manifestors. In fact, only 2% of the population are manifestors.
Wow. Got
okay.
Oof.
And they generally have a defined heart. So when your will is defined, you have the willpower. Most of us don't have a defined heart.
Got it.
You do. You do,
Okay.
which means you have true willpower.
Interesting.
Okay, but most of us really don't have that. So, okay, that's enough of that.
Yeah,
but
that's beautiful. That actually really helps too, because that showed up in my chart. So I'm going to tell you what I learned. I learned so much in working with you. And by the way, I could read it 1,000 times and probably learn more every time I do. So
Absolutely.
There's so much in there. I just want to acknowledge that. But when I was getting ready to do this interview with you today, I thought, what are the ahas in the last month that we've done this work that have kind of changed my consciousness about my own awareness? And I want to share 3 of those with you today. First thing that I learned that was just like life altering was that my frustration that I come in with is mine and not my father's. So
right.
I have blamed my short-tempered, flaring up. I blame my dad for that for my entire life. And you hear me say it on YouTube today. It stops now. I own that frustration. I wrote it in. It's in my human chart. So that was a huge aha for me. The other thing that I learned in working with you is I'm a storyteller, which, my gosh, if you watch my YouTube channel, I will tell you I love to tell stories. But what I loved about my awareness to that is that I used to think that I would offer my stories because intuitively I was getting the hit to tell the story and that person needed to hear it. So in a sense, guess what? I'm projecting. And that was a huge awareness to me. So to wait for the invitation is what you taught me in that, for someone to say, do you have a story that maybe will help me, is probably a better way to get buy-in. And as you know, my intention is to be heard, to make a difference in people's lives. Okay. So how can I be more effective? By waiting to be asked. So
when you're one-on-one with someone, and you know that you carry the storyteller and that it's a projected gate, what you need to do is open the energetic field for reception. So once you're intelligent enough to know, okay, I've got this, you're talking to that person, you can open that energetic field by saying, I have a really great story about that. Are you interested in hearing it?
Got it. Ask for permission. I love that.
Right? And then they will open the energetic field by saying yes, or say, you know what, I don't have the time right now.
Got it. That's so
and
good.
They're closed down and they're not going to receive anyway. Why waste your energy?
Yeah. And that actually leads to one of the last parts I want to share is another thing I learned from you. I had to take a breath to say it, is to meet people where they are. And that's hard for a life coach, right? Because we're always trying to push people to be the best expression of themselves. And when you and I did this work, I identified that I can do it really well when I'm working with somebody who's grieving. I mean, I can know when not to say and not to open that door. And, I can sense energy because I'm so emotionally tied to that frequency of grief, right? And so compassionate towards that. But not so much when I'm working with somebody in career, and not so much when I'm working with somebody who's got abundance issues. I can become more of a projector. So I love that awareness that you gave me in my human design chart by saying, hey, meet people where they are in more of a compassionate way. So those are the 3 things that, I learned.
Exactly. Because we're all traveling. We all have different designs. We're all at a different level. We have to be open to receiving people energetically where they are. And you'll be a more effective deliverer of information when you shift to that energetic field of reception.
Yeah. So here's a question that I didn't tell you I was going to ask, but I'm going to ask it again differently, is do people come back to you over and over and over again, or do they just get their human design chart and that's all they need and it's up to them to figure it out?
Many times they come back.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Because it is, it's something, we call it a deconditioning process, and it takes about 7 years for it actually to decondition.
Okay.
Right? So, you are a person who has been groomed and conditioned through tribal family, through comparison. You're comparing yourself to others, and getting out of that by understanding what your actual design is and accepting the perfection of who you are, not who someone else is. Not, oh, that person, she's able to do 800 things in a day and I can't. Well, that's probably more than likely her design. Yeah. She's probably a manifester or a manifesting generator, and you're not.
I love that. I love the idea we talk about consciousness. And just to phrase something that you've said, a lot of my work, we talk about being in power and out of power. And with your human design, you use the word conscious and unconscious, right? And how to kind of come at things from a more conscious way. And what I hear you saying is human design, first off, helps you become more conscious on who you are, but it also lets you look at the rest of the world from a better lens in accepting people for who they are, which raises the whole world's consciousness, and that's the goal, right? That's the shift that needs to take
100%.
place. Takes us back to the beginning of what we were talking about when we were talking about what this work and the shift is all about. Do you agree?
Yes,
love that.
100%. And when you get to see your children's designs, you get to see your husband's design, it makes you fully go, oh, this is an energy, things that we might sit in judgment on. Yes. It opens that window to not being judgmental of it, of understanding it.
Yes.
A little
and
bit.
Accepting it.
Yeah. It doesn't mean you're not going to be a human, right? Because, we human beings certainly get frustrated and we live our not self theme from time to time. But in human design, the first thing you learn is your design. Okay. That's the first thing. Then I can do a planet reading. But the design is the most important, because if you're in alignment, okay, if you are lined up with your design, then things will happen easier for you.
The struggle.
So it's important to learn what that is.
Okay, I love that. That's a lot of information for people. Do you agree?
I know.
That's a lot. So Kitty, if someone wants to work with you, I know you're going to be totally on the Facebook group. Oh, I'm going to put this up on YouTube. Can I put a link in our description to your email if somebody wants to get a hold of you? Because you're not going to reach out to them. We already know that.
Right.
So if somebody gets a hold of you, is that the best way to do that?
Absolutely.
For future work. So, as we kind of wrap up today, is there anything that you can think that I have forgot to mention or talk, or how would you like to end this before we go into my rapid fire questions for you today?
I think we pretty much covered it. I don't, each planet in a planet reading tells you everything is filtered through your sun. So whatever I see at the top of your chart is very, very high on your list of how you are behaving in this world. Yeah. I can see your spiritual purpose. I can see your blessings in Jupiter. I can see your punishments. Astrology is a part of human design.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So, hey, I think that's enough for everybody. I think that's more than enough, right? To give them a taste and a touch of your energy. And I so appreciate your beautiful time today. And to end this on a fun way, I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions. And you're not the only one who's gotten these questions. They're the same questions, so you get to say them really quick. Are you ready? Just to get to know you a little better, and then we'll wrap up. Kitty, what is your favorite movie?
Forrest Gump.
Oh, love that. If you were going to change the world today, what do you think the world needs in order to be changed?
To stop comparing ourselves to others.
That is huge. Human design really makes you look at that. I love that. What is your pet peeve that you have?
24/7 news.
Is there a specific station that you're opposed to?
No, I'm opposed to competitiveness.
Okay, I love that. We all have these beautiful human design qualities, the sun, the best aspect of ourself. What is something about yourself that you absolutely love?
That I'm now tapping into higher consciousness, that I'm the observer of my life as well as a participant.
Oh, that's beautiful. And then the last question before we say goodbye to you, and thank you so much for your time again. What are you doing when you're experiencing joy?
The beach, tranquil, blue, green, water.
Love it. It's all basically the colors that you're wearing today too, I can tell.
Always, yep.
I just connected to 20 people in our group. They all love the water too. So Kitty, thank you so much. It's been a blessing. This is not the end of our work together. I'm sure many people will connect this YouTube right to our Facebook page. There'll be a beautiful conversation and maybe a follow-up. If everybody watches this and has tons of questions, maybe there's a way to kind of get you on for 50 minutes or answer those questions. And
I would love to do that.
That would be great. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Appreciate your time today.
Okay. Bye.